Welcome back to Maxwell's Playbooks Fitness Roadmap. I've got my husband Rudy Venner here. Rudy is a longtime trainer and fitness guru, and he has been gracious enough to share a lot of himself with Maxwell's Playbook, but in particular, a lot of fitness tips, and as we put together this fitness roadmap to help everyone get in better shape. And I like the concept of a roadmap because no matter what you do in life, if you just kind of jump into it without a plan, it's not going to work out as well. It might work out to some degree, but not as well as it does if you've got a plan, you plan ahead, because planning is half the battle.
Yeah.
Maybe 75% of it.
It is.
And once you get that engaged, then you can look towards having more success.
Yes.
So today, we're going to talk a little bit about preparing from the medical side, looking at your genetics, family history, health, and those kinds of things before we get into it. Last week, we talked about the mindset.
Yes.
And what is your why? Why are you doing this? And so that's kind of a thing you're thinking about. And so now we want to go into kind of the next phase. There's several phases. So this week, I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, it was interesting because everybody, the general move, and I'm probably reflecting on 30 years of in-home personal training that I delivered, in people's homes that I training that I delivered, working in gyms, and there was always a requirement for a medical check. Excuse me, but the thing that I found that was interesting was the check was just that, and as I began to mature, I began to be able to better realize and understand when people are checking a box versus really trying to get an answer. And I've tried to do as much as I could to avoid the checking the box. Really, why? The doctor part of it, it's not just a matter of getting a doctor's okay so you can work out, because the reality of it is a person coming off of surgery. In most cases, there's an exercise, go do this, that the doctor's asking. If it's just to walk down the aisle of the hospital room after. So there's always going to be some prescription for activity or exercise. So that's not the way. We're going to get the check box. To drill down a little bit more in terms of why do we need a doctor? The doctor is providing the known. The reality of it is, and I don't have the science in front of me, but I listen really well and watch really well. And I'm pretty comfortable. 90% of the people that hear this do not know what's going on inside of their bodies. They don't.
That's true.
They don't. And it's really similar to the next time you're driving down the street at night, turn out your lights.
Yeah.
And when all the gauges go and all of the lights are gone, and if you went really maniacal with that and disconnected all of the fuses, you have no idea what's going on.
Well, you know what? That's very similar to situations where people have hypertension, high blood pressure. They call it the silent killer for a reason. You can often have that and not feel any symptoms. So what you're saying is exactly on point.
And that I began to understand is more of why we connect with the doctor, because what a concept. What if our workout routine actually connects with the things that the doctor tells us are going on inside of us? Because there's some people that do need to do far more strength training because their bone mineral content is in some little funky space and some things are going on. There are some people that have cardiovascular issues that a regular routine where you're exercising your heart and your system could dramatically change that scenario. But if you don't even know it, you're reading a magazine and just picking the article with the cutest girl or the cutest boy in it, and that's what you're basing your workout on. And that really is noble.
Yeah.
But
And,
no.
you know, just recently I had a friend who has been going through something. She actually works out quite a bit, but she got a notification on her Apple Watch about AFib, and it didn't just go away. So she went to get it checked out at the hospital and, you know, is going through a battery of tests. Good news is that they're coming back, you know, and she's going to be okay and everything. But the whole thing is to really listen to your body. Mm-hmm. And so many times we may feel something and just kind of say, oh, well, you know, if she didn't have that watch on, she wouldn't have known.
That's right. That's right.
So going back to what you're saying about your doctor and integrating that with your health, once we get into it, we'll talk a little bit later on about things like your, Apple Watch and the health apps on there and what the watch picks up and how you can integrate that now with your records at the doctor's office, and they send it to you, and you know, and they know. It's really awesome how you can coordinate all that. But we'll kind of drill down on that a little bit
So
later.
I'm sorry. I had to adjust my seat because I got so excited when you just said that.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yes, it was.
I thought it was
No,
me.
you always excite me, but you always excite me. Husbands, that was a good move. Mark that down. But that's not why I boosted myself up. I really got excited. At some point, we have to do a conversation, and you're going to probably make me stop because I could probably talk too long on it about connected fitness. Because at this point, my scale, my sleep, my workout, my BP, my everything is connected, and it's all data that I'm looking at, and I'm looking at trends, and I'm looking at where I am. Max VO2 is sending me notices. Man, keep it up because you're improving your max VO2. Keep it up. Your body fat's dropping. Hey, you need to do this. And we need to embrace this technology because anybody can afford this stuff. It's just not that expensive. I've got $30 watches that are fantastic fitness watches. So I'm sorry, had to digress, but you really hit the nail on. That is big time what you're talking about there. And it's life changing.
And let me say one more thing too, and that is, and I was talking to this friend, and she and I were agreeing about how afraid people are of going to the doctor.
Yes,
Some people,
yes,
some people
yes.
go to the doctor all the time.
Yes.
And I got a hangnail. I'm going to the doctor.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But I think there are a lot of people who are afraid of hearing news that they think is bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing is that, and I know that's kind of in your heart, in your head, you probably know I should go to the doctor, but in your heart you're scared, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And what you need to do is find a buddy or get somebody to go with you. It's okay. They can sit in the parking lot right now, or later on when this pandemic is over, they can go and wait in the waiting room or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But go for your annual physicals. Women, go get your mammograms, because if they do find something, finding it earlier, it's going to be so much better than if they
Right.
find it later.
Right.
So that's the mental, the scientific thing behind that. But make sure, no matter what you do, that you are doing your regular doctor's visits.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna stick to the script and go back to what we're talking about, the visit your doctor in terms of fitness roadmap. But this is an entire conversation what you're talking about here, and I'm one of the crazy people that tell people, no matter what the sickness or disease I have, if I can find out yesterday, this is 2021. They are so beast mode, the doctors and the things that they're doing now. They're so amazing at what they can find and what they can do and what they can fix. But we put them at just an unbelievable disadvantage because of what you said. We wait until the last minute and we tell them, okay, fix it. And they look at us like, dude, I can't fix that now.
And I'll say people of color in particular, make sure you're doing that, because there's some things that are diagnosed a little differently for us at times than they are, otherwise. So I want to make sure that everyone is paying attention to this and you're going to follow up.
Okay, so we're gonna make a little note.
Yes.
And we're gonna come back and do a session called The Doctor.
Yes.
And we'll just talk about all of, because that is really true. I have guys of all ethnicities, of all weights, of all economic places that have things health-wise that they do not know, and it's inexcusable in this day and time that we live in. So that's almost turning into a sermon. I'm sorry.
I digressed.
That was a great group digression there. So
ahead.
Anyway, going back to, okay, so we're visiting the doctor. First, we absolutely want to make sure that we're not going to start working out and kill ourselves. We don't want to expedite death by working out. So we'll get that, but it's a check. It's beyond that check mark. What we're trying to do is have things assessed, all of the readings that we get, our cholesterol, our the HDLs, the LDLs, BP, resting heart rate. All of those numbers come together to formulate, where do I need to focus my workout on? Where do I need to be with this? And almost as important as that is, who are you? And it's a who are you beyond your driver's license and your job. It's beyond your driver's license, your job, and your kids. This gets into mom and dad and granddad and what did they have? What are prevailing? What are the things, health-wise issues that our family has historically dealt with? Because if you have historically had problems with blood pressure, if everybody in the family has had blood pressure issues and your diet and your exercise isn't tuned to that, come on. That's knucklehead stuff. It's too easy to learn it. It's too easy to know it, and it's too easy to act on it. That's another part of why the doctor is important, because all of that's all is data that's helping us to understand, who am I? What do I need?
Yeah.
I've seen a number of issues in my family tree that related to diabetes. I've seen a number on one side of my family. On another side of my family, I've seen issues that related to odd conditions like angina, a circulatory thing. And so all of that goes into the mix that determines what are my workouts going to be. There's a reason why I'm kind of leaning into running more, because my system is, and I'm not talking about running a 3-minute mile. That ain't in me. But just sustaining this running for a long period of time, it takes my system up to a certain level. Doesn't cause it to pop, but it works it and works it and works it, and it trains it to work, and it trains it to work. And after a while, I sit down and my heart rate drops down to 47, 46 beats when I'm at rest, because it's learned how to work. But those are all things that I began to direct myself to once I understood my genetic makeup better. And it wasn't through some incredibly profound test or dialogue that I had with somebody. Some of it was really just common sense. And so once I was with the doctor, I found out where I was. I understood my genetic makeup a little bit better. I understood the things that genetically we have been predisposed to, that we have been subjected to, that we have been victims of. And I began to program away from that. I start looking at those things, and I have a basic platform. Okay, I know now some things that I need to address. Now, let's start looking at what's next in it. Where am I? Right? So what's my current condition?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that and about injuries and things
Yes,
like that.
yes,
that you
yes.
had
So,
going
okay,
on.
so this is really good stuff. Oh my gosh, this is so good. I get so excited about fitness. But anyway, so
That's why you're here.
so injuries. Embrace where you are. I hate to sound like a preacher, but one of the things that I find about the Bible is fascinating is some people read the Bible and they take what they read and they try to create a situation based on what they read. When I'm convinced that God is always trying to meet you where you are. And so what he's saying, where you are, here's what we want to do. I understand where you might be, but in all of those situations, this should apply. And it's the same thing with fitness. I don't think the instruction was ever for anybody to run a marathon. Actually, no, that doesn't work like that. You just don't go run a marathon. Mm-hmm. But you might find that through all of this dialogue, through all of this discovery, that running benefits you, and targeting yourself at some point, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, to run a marathon and put yourself on a long-term program might be the greatest thing you could do for your health. But it's going to take all of this information to understand and to be better, to target something like that, to aim for it and get that done and really reap the benefits of it. So my current condition is I have to embrace who I am. I have been in bike classes where I was teaching people, and this is really more guys than ladies. Women have done a far better job. This is not just a solicitous thing I'm saying because I'm here with you, but it's the truth. Women have been far more honest about where I am. I've had guys in my class before where we just burned 900 calories on a ride. We changed the knob 10 times. We stood up 5 times, 6 times during the course of a 45-minute ride. He turned the knob 5 times, and he barely touched the knob. Most of the time, he just touched it. He didn't turn it, but he doesn't understand. I really can't see. So he didn't touch the knob. He stood up for a fraction of the time that we stood up. And when we walked out of the room, he looked at me and he said, "Whew, man, that was hard." And I'm thinking to myself, but you didn't do anything we just did. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And it was mildly delusional. And so when I say my current condition, I don't want you to be delusional. I want you to be honest. If you take the clothes basket up the steps, and by the time you reach the top of the steps, you're out of breath, that's where you are. Don't pretend like, man, I'm in pretty good shape. Dude, you can't breathe. You bought a clothes basket up the steps and you lost your breath.
That's
Where
okay
are you?
because you know that's where you are.
That's
And
right.
that's where you're going to
And
start.
that's all I'm ever
That's your
saying.
starting point.
And that's all I'm saying is embrace that. So what, and it sounds goofy, but honestly, my first goal, to take the clothes basket up the steps and not have to breathe. And now what do I need to do that? What do I need to condition? What do I need to change? Is it aerobic work? Is it anaerobic work? Do I even know what those two are? So those are the things that feed into understanding my current condition. But you have to be honest, and more. It's not. I'm not as concerned about the hows and the whys. There's like you can look this stuff up. It's really easy. There's like a step test. There's all sorts of bend and reach tests. If you just what you want to research, Google fitness assessment.
Okay, that's a
And
good one.
with a ball of string and a yardstick, you could almost get most of this stuff done. It's really easy, but it lets you know where you are. And then you can begin to target. Okay, if I lost my breath in 3 minutes of stepping up on a step, if I lost my breath, then my goal is to get to a place where I can step for 3 minutes and I don't lose my breath. That's the first thing before I start doing all this super scientific, incredibly sounding, wonderful workouts. No, I just don't want to lose my breath stepping on a step. And so there's a lot of protocols that are out there that can easily be followed to establish where you are, to know what your current condition is. That's one of those things that I would always invite people to write you. If they want to know and understand and how to assess, that's easy. You don't need to hire anybody to assess your condition. As a matter of fact, 90% of the people listening to this already know their condition already. And so it's a matter of using that as a baseline. I want to move from that to this.
One thing I want to let people know, though, just to help you with this, because it's a lot to hear all of this and try to take notes perhaps or whatever, but we actually will have a worksheet that you'll be able to link to and print out, and you can start making notes like, what is your mindset? What is your why? Where are you? And you can start keeping kind of a personal diary of sorts, if you will, or a checklist, just to kind of give yourself record that information for yourself and for your own situation, and be able to refer to that and help plan your own personal roadmap. So that's coming at maxwellsplaybook.com. That should be there actually. It should be there now. So
Okay.
go check it out.
So, and I want to get back to one thing. You mentioned injuries. I'm comfortable with this. If anybody is ever in a class that I teach, I lead, I speak to, or any group that I am trying to influence in the area of fitness, and you say anything to me that references knees, elbows, backs, calves, ankles, and I just speak to you and move right on with talking about the routine and don't acknowledge it, walk out of my room.
I had that experience. I went to a Pilates class. I had one instructor, and I said, "Look, my knees are not great. They're not strong, and I just have hereditary knee issues." And she says, "Great. Okay." So she adapted what I was doing to accommodate that. Next time I went, she was gone. A new instructor was there, and I said, "Okay, I have knee issues." And she gave me those slides to slide around. And you know what? You twist your knees doing that. So I felt like she was not listening to me. So you're absolutely right. It's important to communicate what you already know your challenges might be, so that instructor can adapt. They can do that. There are things you can do to get. I'm never going to run a marathon. Okay, I'm not going to run a mile.
I agree with her, but I think big and I dream in color.
I'm not going to run a mile, but I can do other things to still get. I can still do other things to get the benefits that you get in running a mile.
And the thing is that I think the difference is I understand, and I am your in-house trainer. Everybody isn't as fortunate as you are to have an in-house trainer that's treating and working, and I see the progress. And I know that it's there. I've seen recoveries far more dramatic than yours, and I joke about I dream in color, but my vision for what you can be has always been far greater than your vision, and that's what I am with anybody that I work with. I see different. I'm seeing a far more patient view. My view is understanding. If I say you're going to run a mile, what you thought was run a mile tomorrow, I thought 3 years. Right. And so I'm on a different plane because I know how difficult it was when you started to ride.
Yeah, that's true.
You would have never said you would ride standing up the way you ride standing up now. You would have never said that you'd walk on a treadmill for 2 miles the way you walk now. So I'm not really buying it all the way. But the whole point is it's It's Mount Everest. A lot of this stuff is Mount Everest. And the one thing that's important about Mount Everest is nobody shows up at the base ready to touch the flag. Everybody knows that you got to break that thing down into 5, 10, 15, whatever the number of sections it is to get mentally into it. You got to break it down because it's a lot. And it's going to take some time. I'll have people to come in a gym who have been deconditioned and been totally body conscious, body, mind, and body dead for 15, 20 years, have gained 40 pounds and want to fix everything in 3 weeks. It just doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. And there's no silver bullets. And all of those people that are telling you that are lying through their teeth, there's no silver bullets. There's no quick answer. This is a process that has to be changed from a to-do thing to a lifestyle thing. And it's something that happens every single day. And we have to be a little more loving and a little more caring of ourselves.
Yes.
And less demanding of ourselves. You cannot. I've had relatives, and I won't say who they are. The names are hidden to protect the innocent. But I've had relatives who really were convinced that they could beat things out of you back in the day when parents were into physical
Discipline.
And I never ever in my life saw anybody's behavior change behind a whipping. It is the most worthless, useless. All you did was built up that kid's internals for physical things. It's like, okay, I can take it. You just created a great Marine. Thank you. Yeah. The Marines are happy. But as far as changing the behavior, that kid's looking at you and just figuring out, okay, next time we'll go left.
Yeah.
So it is one of those things that we need to be more patient, especially with ourselves, especially in this arena of fitness if we haven't done it. But I don't care if you're 400 pounds overweight. I don't care. Do you want to move? Then let's start. We got to find that first step. And sometimes the first step at Mount Everest might be just making your camp.
Exactly.
That's it. Yeah. All we do is making a camp. Just bring the gear in, sit it down, and start the fire. Open up the beans, and let's just sit down.
That ties into something you said one time before about having access and knowing what the realistic amount of time is that you have to work on it, and kind of starting out with what makes sense for you and building from there. Don't just start and stay there for like a month.
Oh my gosh,
because you do want to build, but you want to just know where you are.
Yeah,
and start.
They're killers. It's kind of like, again, fitness. I want fitness to meet you where you are, and if you have a job that pays you a tremendous amount of money and you have a tremendous lifestyle, you're probably not going to just cut work and start working out. That's not going to happen. If your job is a job that takes a lot mentally from you, you might be able to find ways that working out balances out your whole day. But if your job is a very physical job, working out's hard. And the one thing that we've learned through things like the fitness watches and being able to gauge and measure calories consumed and active calories, we all have a magic number. My number right now, about 2,500 calories in a day. If I hit 2,500 active calories in a day, I notice it's like a big truck. And it's just gearing down because it's like, unless I tap into some energy and I'm really strategic about it, I'm kind of on the downside of the day. It just isn't there. I'm not going to, I've had one occasion where I timed out something dumb and I ran a 5K on a treadmill at night at like 8:30. But that was one of the hardest runs I've ever had because it was at the end of a whole lot of other things that were going on. And so, yeah, where are you? What is your day? What are you? You might be, and I have people, and God bless them, that say, I'm a morning person. Well, okay. But if you are a morning person, but the only time you have to work out is in the evening at 7, then I need you to be kinder to yourself and understand this might be hard, but I need to get over here and get with that 7 because I can't, my whole cycle of going to work in the morning, I can't get a workout in before. I got to come on the back end. So we have to figure out a way to schedule these things in, and that's going to override the type of person that you are, a morning person, an afternoon person, an evening person. When you meet fitness, when you and fitness meet, you might not be at that place in your life where you can just go to the spot that's the sweetest. I've identified it, and God bless you, because you know, but that might not be what life is allowing you to do right now. And so that's a part of that understanding. Where am I in terms of my requirements for my family and my requirements for my time? Where's that spot? I always said I've had a lot of moms that I've trained in the past, and I always told them, I know you don't like mornings, but I've never seen a child wake up and say, hey, Mom, can I get some cereal at 5 in the morning? They're not asking you for cereal at 5. Most of the kids I know now are not asking you for cereal at 7. So I found that a lot of women had a lot more success sustaining their workouts and consistency if they did things in the morning. And that's all I'm saying is find a spot where people will leave you alone, that you're able to do what you're doing, get the work done, and it's unimpeded. Because here's the real beauty of this fitness thing. Man, the longer we do it, the better it gets. Mm-hmm. The more consistent we are, the better it gets.
That's a habit. You form a habit.
Right. And that's why the injuries are so I would always tell personal trainers that would come under my wing a little bit, or we would cross paths, and I would say, your main priority, number one, is nobody gets hurt. First of all, because I try to always tell trainers, you can't make money training if the people you're training are hurt. They don't come to the gym with injuries. That doesn't happen.
There. Yeah, you got to recover from
that. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that it is really hard to understand progress when you're having injuries. You have to be an all-star, all-world level athlete to really understand that. If you can have the psychology to come back from injuries, that's not normal people. These guys are abnormal. These girls are abnormal that think like that. But as you get older, let me tell you something. Yeah. A twist, a sprain, anything that goes wrong after 30 is bad. After 40, it's bad. After 50, it's really bad. And after 60, at 62 years old, when I have a toe that goes out, that toe throws my entire world off. And I'm off for 3 or 4 weeks. I can't function. At 62, 3 or 4 weeks of no working out, oh, you're gaining some weight, buddy.
Yeah.
You are not. Yeah. There's no way in the world, unless I'm like fasting every day, intermittent, and all these articles about intermittent fasting. Well, we're going to practice that because that's the only chance I got. And so I got to keep you in the game. You got to stay in the game. And so not only assessing the injuries where you are when you come in, but now finding those thresholds and that matrix, it's like a matrix that I have in my mind. When I do this, this, and this, I'm most likely going to be injured. When I do this and this, there's a greater chance of hurting myself. So those things I stay away from.
Yeah, pull it back.
Yeah. And we were talking the other day. We were walking and we had a conversation and you said something about something wasn't right. And I said, that's a flare.
Oh, yeah.
I said, that's a flare. We're out. We're done.
Yeah.
It's time to turn around.
Yeah, it was back in here, the shoulders.
Yeah, and what I was explaining to Robin was this. Our bodies are just such machines. Man, God is just so unbelievable the way he designed this thing. I found that almost every time anything goes wrong, it's almost like a ship in the middle of the ocean. When the ship goes wrong, the captain looks at this, looks at that, and he looks at one of the guys on the cruise and says, shoot up a flare. And that flare is telling everybody that can see, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. We need some help.
If you keep on going, you're going to be like the Titanic.
Boom. And that's it. If nobody sees the flare, or you don't send up the flare,
or you ignore
the flare, it doesn't mean that the situation doesn't exist. So we're going to progress. You send up the flare. When you feel those things, I catch it. You say something, we catch it. We immediately pull back on what we're doing, and we begin to treat whatever that was about, wherever that came from. Let's treat it. What kind of ointments, what kind of braces? I don't know what we need to do. We pull back, we rest, we do something. And if we stick with that program, it's fascinating. I've known many people, and I know this isn't the case all the time, and I'm way out of my space when I say this, but I am stunned at the number of people that I've had who've gone through a variety of treatments for different cancers, that they all knew something wasn't right. Man, I've been amazed at guys who before anybody saw anything, they felt something and they knew something was off. And so I know we know these things. I know God has programmed us. We've got this dashboard that's working and all of these signals are coming. It's just a matter of are we reading them?
Right.
Are we choosing to ignore them? And so with the injuries, it's not only injuries that you bring into fitness, but it's injuries, the limiting injuries during fitness and dealing with injuries in fitness. I've known pro football players who basically worked out and blew out body parts that took them out of the game that was making all of the money that they were making. Gosh, I hate to be so critical and so negative, but that makes no sense.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. I'm not gonna. If I'm one of the best linemen in the world, I'm not gonna blow out my shoulder doing a bench press.
Yeah, but they want to come and play the game, so that's a little different in their case.
But no, actually no, it's because they pushed beyond what their game needed. Because now you're getting into weights, and I'm getting to my testosterone, and I got the heaviest bench. That's not making you any money. What's making you money is blocking on a field. And so I'm always trying to get people to stay within the framework of where are we. It's no different from a professional athlete than it is a person on the street. The person on the street, you cannot go into work limping. You can't go into work with all of these injuries. You got a job to do. All of these things, the fitness is helping to keep you at what you do and to allow you to have to reap the best benefit out of your daily experiences and whatever it is that you do.
Right. So I liked what you said a few minutes ago about being kind to yourself.
Yep.
So you want to be kind to yourself in terms of knowing where you are, what your limitations are for that moment in time, that season of your life. And, we're going to check with your doctor. And we're going to look at your genetics and look at your injuries, look at those kinds of things that are going to affect what your plan is for your fitness roadmap. Did I leave anything out in summarizing that?
Your season in life, just where are you? Because when you have 5 kids and they're all under 4, you're probably not going to do anything really dramatic in terms of working out. It's very nice, but no. Understanding your time, and that lends itself to its time, what you have access to. We didn't talk a lot about access, but that was one of the things that we mentioned. Just what do you have access to?
Exactly.
And I think in one of the earlier episodes, I talked about the paint cans, my first workouts with paint cans and how it was weird, but it was incredibly effective. Health challenges, injuries, past injuries, current injuries, future injuries, your current condition, genetics, and that all went into where you start.
Great. So that's something to start working with this week, right? And next time we get together, we'll be talking about strength, cardio, and food intake, nutrition. Yeah, which is also very important. We're not nutritionists, but we know a little bit about some of the things that are good.
I can tell you how to get fat.
And not so great. And the holidays are coming, so
my God.
Watch out.
And we get to talk about the 4,000 calories consumed by the average American on Thanksgiving Day.
Oh my goodness.
Yeehaw.
Let it be less this year.
Yeehaw.
So anyway, but thanks a lot again for
my
being here with me and sharing all of your expertise and knowledge, because I know it's going to be super helpful to everybody who's listening and watching. And we will be getting back together in another week.
Can't wait.
Yeah, almost Thanksgiving by then.
Can't wait. She loves this so much because she has to listen to this alone if you all don't listen. So continue to listen so she gets a break.
This is my therapy.
Her escape.
Help me. Help me. Help me.